Hello, welcome back, everyone. We are back for our second session of the day, and our speaker, Gerd Bruycker from Cisco Systems, and we are going to talk about virtual events. And the topic is we have been doing online events before. What has changed now? Cisco has been doing excellent events all over the world, also hybrid, in a very advanced level. And a lot has changed in the past year. So we are going to hear from Gerd about the latest developments. So I want to introduce you quickly before we go to the questions, and then you can also add anything to your introduction. You are the marketing director at Cisco Systems, responsible as the CMO for Northern Europe and leading the EMEA events team. You are specialized in how event marketing is integrated into the overall marketing mix as part of customer journeys and audience touchpoint strategies. You and your team are responsible for Cisco's top events in the region, such as Cisco Live, Cisco's trade show participation, event strategy, and country event enablement services. Before joining Cisco 10 years ago, you worked for almost a decade at Microsoft, mainly in events marketing roles on a country, regional, and worldwide level. You are also a guest lecturer at a high school in Belgium. And do you have anything to add to your introduction?
That's already a mouthful, I would say. And in these, let's say, fast-moving times, Cisco is also a company where we, let's say, evolve our job roles very fast and very quickly, let's say. So one thing that I'm currently also doing on top of that is I do strategy and planning for a European marketing organization for, let's say, our VP. So that gives me good insights around marketing overall and then events specifically. And I'm also leading globally now Cisco's events for Connect and Engage, which we probably talk a little bit about later. So yeah, event marketing is my passion, let's say. Have been doing that, but at the same time, I'm also having broader marketing roles. And I find this very interesting because then you can make the connection between the two and the integration. And that's, I really love that.
Excellent. So a quick introduction about the topic and maybe a background. Last year, I attended your session at IMEX where you talked about your strategy, having the marketing mix between the online and offline events. And a lot has changed in 1 year. And you also pivoted completely for the time being. Let's start with the first question, and our audience watching us live can also ask questions as we go along, and we can address these questions. So first question is, last year at IMEX, you spoke about live and virtual events and how these events form an integral part of the Cisco's marketing mix. Do you see virtual events taking over the live component, so you need to change your marketing strategy?
I mean, yeah, I think everyone is aware now we are 100% in a digital world. That's where, let's say, the whole of the European continent is on that one. Now, what we see is our let's say, our online events taking over all the, let's say, physical aspect of an event. They try to, I would say, but it's not easy. And some elements like, okay, presentations, one-way streams, that is, let's say, pretty easy on that one. At the same time, you need to be mindful that it's still a different channel. People have different options to do very quickly. There's an email popping up, or let's say very easily distracted on that one. Where we see where it's a little bit more challenging, let's say, is, let's say, the immersive experience and that you can offer in a physical event where people experience that way more dedicated time. That's a little bit more challenging, let's say. And the interactivity on that. That's something that we also kind of, struggling is maybe a strong word, but where we are trying, how do you do the interactivity in an online environment, let's say? And a lot of people try to build these peer connect and how to do, but we find it challenging on that one. We see some events that it works and other events where people don't do any interaction, let's say, just listening. So definitely, virtual events can take over quite a few things, but not everything. That's clear. that. But at the same time, what I see, the fact that we are all going virtual, is that you see a rapid evolution in the virtual events, because virtual events are not new. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at platforms from, let's say, today on 24, Intrado, Meet You,
Yeah.
and many others, let's say, they are around for 15 years, right? They have evolved, their user interface is better, so virtual events have been around. But now I think we see a rapid evolution and innovation in this space way faster than we would have
Yeah.
thought or would have seen if we would still be in a non-corona environment, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just gone, and we don't know, even in 2-3 months, it can be so advanced that we will find some solutions to our challenges right now with virtual events.
Yep.
You talked, my questions are referring to your talk last year at IMEX, so I will refer my questions to this, and later on I will also post the link to your talk at IMEX last year, for those who want to know your strategy better. You talked about hosting live events for customers who are in different awareness stages, interacting with your company. For example, an online event could be good for awareness stage, and a workshop could be good for deployment. How do you adjust now to support your customers virtually in the advanced awareness stages?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we are talking, let's say, the top of the funnel, mid of
Yeah,
the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel.
exactly.
And where typically for top of the funnel, I mean, it's about thought leadership, it's about, then you can easily do that online. Let's say if you then go more into the mid of the funnel with customer cases, and bottom of the funnel, it's even further, it's more about interaction, let's say. But we try to do that online. Definitely, and where top of the funnel could be more, let's say, more broadcasting and broad reach audience. When we go down the funnel, it's even a funnel on that one.
Yeah.
Then we try to do it in smaller groups on that one, and try to be creative on that one. Small groups where we, let's say, bring existing customers that talk about how they did it with, let's say, potential new customers, or we do more hands-on workshops. We have a
Yeah.
whole, let's say, demo environment in the cloud where people can do that together with a Cisco person, let's say. And we also, I mean, even for our physical events, we have, let's say, quite a few technical people and a technical audience that we attract to our big events like Cisco Live. And even there at these physical events, we are doing gamifications. Like
Yeah.
people sitting on their laptops, let's say we
Yeah.
have developed, for example, a game Capture the Flag, which is a little bit like Stratego, let's say, but then more a technical environment and do that. And in this way, we bring people together, even at a physical event in an online environment. So we, of course, we have been porting all of that completely in the virtual world. And that helps for, let's say, existing customers to show them our new enhancement, new features, new products that we can cross sell and upsell. Let's say, so definitely do that. But you really need to think, let's say, in this online environment as well. It is from a starting point, from a planning perspective, it's exactly the same as a physical event. It's like you really need to think about who is my target audience and what do I want to achieve. I mean, that has not changed. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, virtual events is a different channel than a physical event, but the two main questions stay exactly the same. Who do I want to reach and what do I want to achieve? That's where we
Yeah.
always start. And then we try to build, let's say, the right experience based on budgets, time frames, and all of that. But yeah, and integrate that in the overall marketing mix.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting how you had the online component at your live events. What is going to change now with your flagship events, the Cisco Live that you host in North and South America and Europe and Australia?
Yeah. So just maybe a little bit context for the people that are listening here. So at Cisco, over the last couple of years, and we are a big company. We do hundreds of events or even thousands of events around the world, from small ones to big ones. And we have developed a 3-event brand architecture, let's say, because in the past, everyone at Cisco called an expert talk, a talk show, a show, this, that, let's say whatever naming we had. So we standardized around 3 event brands, let's say. And these are Cisco Live, Cisco Connect, and Cisco Engage on that one. And you talk here about Cisco Live, and to position it for the people on the call. So Cisco Live, we have currently 3 around the world on that one. These are our big flagship events. One in the Americas, one in EMEA, and one in APJC on that one. And if you look at that, to put it in context, Cisco Live in Australia has about 8,000 attendees there. Cisco Live in EMEA, the physical events, is attracting 18,000 people these days, and the US is 28,000. So that's kind of Cisco Live. Then Cisco Connect is the brand just below that, which kind of the top level brand in a country. That is then, let's say, you could say a small Cisco Live, but on a local level. And then we have Cisco Engage, which is kind of all the small events we do around the world. And we developed that brand so that they can always have, let's say, kind of a subtitle like, okay, this is about this technology for that audience, what is happening in that city. So we really created that brand. So that's what we have done as a starting point to put the context. If you then look at Cisco Live, yes, of course, it's changed. I mean, and the first one was actually Cisco Live Australia on that one.
Was in April, right? Or was it in March, right?
Yeah, so actually, if you look at the 3, we had Cisco Live in Barcelona, which was actually the last one just before the pandemic outbreak. And so that was in February, end of January, beginning of February. And I remember that we had the first people that came to us like, okay, there is a virus, what are you going to do? And we were like, okay, virus, we don't know. I was really in the middle of January already then. So we kind of were able to still do the event and get out of the gates without any issue or problems, let's say. And then a couple of weeks later, we had our event in Australia, and that could not happen. So that team only had about 4 weeks to build an online experience. So we shifted everything online, but because of the short time frame, you can't, let's say, just port the whole thing. So what, let's say, the Australian team did actually is mainly broadcast with, let's say, Q&A and live chat. And that's what, there were no sponsorship, everything was free on all that. And also something that we see in online environment, everything was pre-recorded.
Yeah, everything was pre-recorded.
On that.
Everything.
So everything was pre-recorded, but you can't really see that, or you could. But that requires a lot of advanced planning to actually align the scripts and all of that, let's say, on the different channels. But everything, and the beautiful thing about that is the following. I mean, if you pre-record everything, and when you stream it then, we have the speakers and the moderators 100% available to the chat and the Q&A.
Yeah.
That was on the right-hand side of the screen. You had the streaming with the session, but the speakers were okay. They have done it. It was all recorded. Cisco TV production. Of course, we're a networking company, so we are capable of doing that. And then the moderators and the speakers could answer in live on the chat on that one.
Yeah.
So that's the first one we kind of did. That was a number one. Then we had our American event, and maybe a point to see what we have seen there as well is that where, like I said, we had 8,000 people for the APJC physical event. What we on average see for our online events is the number of attendees. I'm not saying even registrations, because okay, there's always a dropout. The number of people really attending that are watching more than 3 seconds or at least a couple of minutes is multiplied by 4 to 5 times.
Wow. Wow.
So for example, for the American event, which we then had in June, and we had a little bit more time to prepare, so we had more channels, and we hosted it also with Cisco TV, had that broadcast and that live Q&A, but added quizzes, leaderboards, social media, meet the expert sessions, one-to-one chats with all our technology. And there, from 28,000, we went to 125,000 people, let's say.
That's
and
very,
now the
very.
next one, that is coming up is our event was supposed to be in Amsterdam,
Yeah.
but that will be. So now again, as that team, we have 3 cycles where we, let's say, innovate. So for that event, we're going to start charging for some of the premium content. And we're going to, for the first time, offer sponsorships and packages in an online environment. We definitely will look at the production, things like that. So we're in that whole brainstorm phase. We have our digital strategy, broadcast, interactivity, and all kind of sessions. But yes, we ported everything virtual, all our events. You specifically talked about Cisco Live, but even our advisory boards, everything else we tried to do live, let's say online at this point.
So you did 2 test runs before starting to charge for your online events, because it's also a very big question now in the events industry. When can events start charging? Yeah.
Indeed, that's not an easy one. I mean,
It's not an easy one,
definitely we have good connections in the IT industry. We are definitely talking to our peers. We are looking at other companies as well. At the same time, don't get mistaken. I mean, Cisco, like any other company, is under pressure for revenues, cost, let's say, savings, and all of that. So at some point, because in some of our events, we are running break even, or with the sponsorship, we are generating money. In an online environment, let's say your overall cost to produce is let's say lower, depending on what you do compared to a physical event. But actually the way to generate and to monetize that is also different. We think that in a virtual environment, you cannot charge the same amount for a sponsorship package than in a physical world. Some companies do. We have very much question marks about that. So the income is lower than that. So we're constantly testing, trying. We don't have a holy grail or a crystal ball, but we're going to try. And we ask people. So also so that's where we are really thinking about, okay, we're going to start charging. And a Cisco Live event is typically about 2,000 euros, let's say, for a week education. We will not charge 2,000 euros for an online event.
No, you can't. No.
Way less on that one. And if we start charging, it needs to be premium content. It needs to be premium, exclusive content. You need to have exclusive added value than a pure broadcast there. So all kind of considerations that we need to take into account. Even sponsorships. And how do you do sponsorships in a virtual environment? You really need to think how you do that. And then it depends on let's say, the platform you use and your overall schedule, where you can insert opportunities for sponsors to connect with your brand or present something, or do something else. But it's not the same. It's not a booth, right? That's why we don't believe that. And again, if you think about sponsorship, and sorry that I'm going here, but I really
I think it's very interesting. And if our audience has any questions, also don't hesitate to ask, because it's a huge topic right now in the industry.
So you see, we are questioning, again, this is my personal opinion, don't take anything broader, or I don't want to offset any people, but in an online sponsorship, if today you're going in these really great platforms where they offer a lot, and you have these virtual exhibitions, and you can go into that virtual booth. But what I find is that whatever you do there is like, okay, you can see a demo. Let's say click to a URL, right? I mean, you can download case studies, a click to the PDF file. You can interact, you can chat. Yes, absolutely, you can chat on that one. You can ask for a demo. But you see, it's typically, or you can see a video or whatever, but it's always a click to something else. And then I'm wondering, like, okay, is that what it is? Let's say to offer a virtual booth. Are there not more innovative ways of doing that? Because in all honesty, you could build, and some companies and events do that. I mean, they offer a web page where you, let's say, can offer exactly the same components in a different way. So all food for thought for everyone in this industry.
Yeah, it's definitely has to evolve, because the expectations are also increasing very fast, I think. And companies need to keep up.
Yeah.
So your virtual events so far have been positioned in the awareness phase for customers who want to learn about new technologies. Will your virtual events will evolve now beyond the awareness stage? We just discussed it.
Yeah.
Virtual events are global. How do you approach your local event strategy? For example, the Cisco Engage, which takes place in offices and workshops. So so how do you do with the local events where usually workshops take place in the offices?
So there again, it comes back to this three-event brand architecture. Let's say small. So, and we are discussing that a lot. So, for example, with Cisco Live, if you look at it, the core component is technical education for an IT audience on that one. So, we in a virtual space, there are different things that you need to keep in mind. For example, where in a physical event, you really need to think about the geography where you are. In an online environment, the geography doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at all, except for a little bit from a time zone perspective.
Yeah.
But instead of a geography, you talk about languages.
Yeah.
That's the way that we look at it. Talk about languages. So
Very
we are
true.
saying, so in the past you had Cisco Live, Cisco Connect, that could be in the same region but local because you have that geography. But now we are saying if our Cisco Connect in the Americas is about offering technical education to the IT audience, hey, but that's all available from Cisco Live. So why should we actually do a Cisco Connect that is offering us? So actually, you could say we are competing. We are not complementing each other
Yeah.
on that. So that is where we're really thinking. And then you go to these components where when you don't talk about, okay, why would you still then have a connect or an engage? But then you talk like in Europe, in our countries, it's all about different languages.
Yeah.
Right? It's about different languages. So that is already a local added value. Another local added value is local customer cases. It's local customers. It's what is the culture there, how you do business, how are people talking about that, the environment. Because, okay, I mean, an IT company in the Americas is not the same as in Europe. I mean, we are much more a small and medium-sized business, let's say, geography on that one. If you want to position your local expert, your local management team, your local people, then you can do that in these local events. But do you
Absolutely.
then need that kind of full-blown Cisco TV, as we call it, production and all of that? No, it's about local connection, local added value. So you see, in that way, we are building our event strategy in an online environment
Yeah.
there in a pretty fast way. But there's a place for all of them. But again, it always comes down to the same question, the same two questions. Who is your target audience and what do I want to achieve?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good approach. Absolutely. I haven't heard of this approach before, but definitely very good. So you talked before a little bit about pricing online events, but now maybe we can just dedicate the question for this. Your online events have been free before, and that will change going forward, you already said. What will be the added value for the customers paying for the virtual event? So you already talked about premium content. Are there any workshops or direct contacts to the speakers or the experts?
These are the things that we absolutely think about on that one. Premium content, exclusive access to new things, let's say that we are developing, stuff like that. Access to the experts like we have in our physical environment.
Yeah.
And we are thinking about other stuff as well. In like in these events that we are generating, and also all kind of online events these days, you are generating a lot of video files on that one. So if you already go today to videocisco.com and video.cisco.com, let's say, we are building a Netflix environment for all Cisco related videos on our own platform on that one. And in that platform, we are also building our own virtual event experience there. We have the technology. We are, like I said, a network infrastructure company, so we can do that. So we try to bring all of that together, and then you're not far off of a subscription model either as well. So we are thinking about how you do that. If you're charging for an event, people will have exclusive access to that. How do you get close in contact with, let's say, our influencers, with our product teams? So thinking about all of that, we don't have it all figured out, but we're going to test it. For the February event, we're going to charge for absolute premium content, access to experts, and other, let's say, added value that we will.
But you will remain a free element of your event.
There will be a piece, will be a free element, yes, and that comes maybe down to more thought leadership, awareness at the top of the funnel, and then when we go more to the bottom of the funnel, let's say, or existing customers, and don't forget that. Also in our company, as part of our enterprise agreements contracts where we sell our products, we're also offering learning credits. And learning credits is, let's say, virtual money that people can use to attend training with our partners or training from Cisco there. So you immediately have the link that we will offer these learning credits to actually attend that premium content as well.
Yeah, and will your content be, so there will be like the event price element, but your content will be also accessible on demand, so it will expand the event life cycle, so you can still monetize it then also after the event is over.
Yeah. And that's going to be an interesting one, because don't forget, like today, Cisco Live is 2,000 euros, but a week post event is all videos available for free. It's all available for free. And I mean, I think a lot of people have thought about, okay, is that not capitalizing on your, let's say, physical event, let's say, people? And from my days at Microsoft and at Cisco, on the contrary, because we have seen all these events growing, because you get more people that are getting into, let's say, this content and stuff and see that experience, and then they want to come to the event. And there's also kind of a FOMO, fear of missing out. I want to be there. Because of course, if you're only offering at your physical event broadcasting content, okay, you can do that online. But it's about all the other elements that people want to hear and dedicated time on that. So that's going to be interesting now, because okay, all this content currently today is available for free, but we're going to start a subscription model in a different way for that premium content. Some will be free, some will be payable.
And last year, you spoke about how you increase participation of online events, because that's another challenge that many event professionals face now, how to increase the participation. And you said that one of the ways you offer simultaneous translation to Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. Are there any other ways to increase online participation?
Yeah, I mean, that's when you talk about these languages, that is very specific for the Asian market, let's say, and their proficiency in English and Chinese, Japanese, Korean on that one. So, I mean, we are really testing to have a broader online participation. In Asia, we do most currently in English, but we are thinking about that simultaneous translation for online as well, or let's say with subtitles in these countries. But there are different elements. Okay, then you can reach a broader audience. The rest is about the interactivity, the participation, not just attending, but participating. Participating for me is a little bit more. There is kind of, let's say, interaction. There is something happening there. And then we go back to peer connect, chat, and this and that. But like I said before, that it's a challenging one. And to give you an idea, we had, what are we today? Saturday. Earlier this week, we had Cisco Impact. And Cisco Impact is our start of the fiscal year for all our sales and marketing people. And normally that is happening in Las Vegas, where we bring together 15,000 people. We all fly in there, huge cost, okay, celebration, strategy for the future, and all that. Okay, of course, that's all not happening. So this week we had our Cisco Impact online experience in 2 days, in 3 waves. The Americas wave, the EMEA wave, and stuff. Executives available in these 3 waves. Some of it live, like our keynotes, because we see that it's great to have your, let's say, keynotes live as well on that one. And then a lot of other stuff that was pre-recorded, 20,000 people online. Everyone can build his own schedule and all of that. And the good thing there is, like, to give some example of best practices of what we see again from an online perspective. Every session, 30 minutes, not longer.
Okay.
Not long, short, to the point, very well prepared, the speakers on that one. So that is one. So we had slots of 30 minutes, 50 minutes in break, 30 minutes. And I experienced that like, okay, that is great. In that 15 minutes, I could quickly do something else, go down to the coffee, tea, go to the toilet, check my mails and stuff. Did I do anything about interactivity with my colleagues? No, I didn't. But I was absolutely able to listen 30 minutes when it was interesting to the content. And there we also, it's typically, we will not do a kind of one speaker monotone, let's say, all the time. We will have hosts do discussions where not too many slides, okay, nice production like you have here as well. That is for example, and then this interactivity is not there. But that was something that we really could see. Another thing, there is like standing. When speakers are standing in a virtual environment, it's much better than like we are sitting, right, on that one. We did quite a few of our people were standing with the desks up and down, let's say, or just creating the environment. Much better to keep attention. Weird, strange, I don't know why, but my experience was as well, when people are standing, it's much better.
Wow,
and we are creative in these things. I mean, it is. I mean, we didn't know that as well until we experienced it and did it. And for our Cisco Live in the US, I mean, just to draw attention, some of our executives, one of them had the idea to do his presentation on the roof of his apartment in San Francisco. Brilliant view. You have immediately attention. People are like, whoa, what's that? That's something different. That you do. So we're also using hosts in between just to connect the dots, let's say, and keep it going content-wise. But content is king. It needs to be great content, short and to the point. I love some of these sessions, like TED Talks in the past, 12 minutes, and comes down to that as well there. Or one bullet session, 2 minutes to explain something. Yeah, that's what you see. So you see online participation, what is your objective? All the learning stuff. But this production is, you can do so many nice things on that. And again, there are tons of tools like today. Okay, you have a wonderful background because you thought about, okay, I'm sitting in my office. Okay, that could be cluttered. Children could come in, stuff like that. But a lot of tools today offer, let's say, you can change your background. It can be a beach, it can be an office environment. So we're going to start playing with that as well and actually creating just a background for a Cisco Live, Cisco Connect and Engage, whatever you want to do there. So you can start playing, and so people need to think about that. And like you think about your experience for a physical event, you need to do exactly for online. And if you have great speakers and you have production, you have thousands and thousands of people, what's the cost of sending a small speaker package to someone's home with a good quality mic and 2 lamps, for example, to have a better experience?
Absolutely.
All things that we learned, I mean, we didn't take it out of a book or no one came up with it. It was just having his interaction, seeing it, okay, what's this, what's that? And learning every single event we do.
Testing. I really like your approach to testing because you constantly test new aspects, and it's important because the audience becomes so demanding.
I mean, other simple things is about the position of your camera. Right? Okay, I'm set up with 3 screens here. So okay, 3 screens, different cameras. But if you speak to an audience, then hopefully you speak into the camera like you do. But typically the notes are somewhere else, or you want to see something, and okay, you look down, you look up. And people are, you need to be authentic. You need to talk to people, even in an online environment. Like, okay, I'm looking over there, but actually the audience is there. No.
We are coming to our close. We have 2 questions left. So if anyone from the audience has questions, that's your time to ask. So you talked about experiences, and there are many ways to do it at your live events, but we don't talk about it right now. We want to talk about your online experiences. And one of the things that you mentioned is that you use artificial intelligence to help attendees select their sessions that are most suitable for them. In my opinion, it's a huge online experience. And are there any other examples how you deliver superior online customer experience, as you discussed, sending microphones, for example, but is there anything more?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like with a physical event, flawless execution.
Yeah,
That's where it starts. Flawless execution. I mean, have enough bandwidth, or be careful what you are streaming and not streaming, which tools you are using. Test it in advance. If you are doing a lot of things concurrent, let's say that the technology is so important. What you use, which software, bandwidth, flawless execution is a starter. I talked about the production. With simple things, you can achieve a lot on that one, let's say. And again, technology, like I said, okay, for an event, okay, now I'm speaking, so I need to be concentrated to one screen. But I'm set up with 3 screens. So I have attended events that are really having, let's say, on one device, I had the broadcast, and on the other device, let's say I had the app where you could actually, let's say, interact with the speakers, or do something else, or do peer connection and all of that. So that is about innovation, a second screen, things like that. You sometimes have a physical event, but that's where you need to think about. Is it distracting, or is it adding a value, and all of that? That's what can help on that one. But I still believe that even more than a physical event, your content is so important. Your content is so important that needs to be on what your audience wants. And because people can be so easily distracted, an email pops up or a notification
and
from
you lose your
whatever
audience
tool.
very
You need to keep their attention, and then it's about that. Okay, are there polls, or they do something creative to do that? You need to think about that. That's what I find for sure.
Yeah, I really like your example about the multiple screens. And I think when you send your attendees a link, it has to work on multiple devices, because people want to watch maybe the live stream, and then they want to use the chat function. And or if you use a different platform, or maybe go on social media. So this is so important. Okay, and let's talk about data. And last year you said that data drives business for your company when it comes to online events. So for example, you identify your target audience and design the right event for them, a live event. What has changed now when there are no live events to plan for the time being? And how do you use the data from online events to make business decisions?
Yeah. First of all, it's about collecting the data.
Yeah.
When that's then you have the insights. Let's say first collecting the data, then you do the analytics, and then you have the insights on top of that. And based on the insights, you can then plan. So it starts with collecting the data, and that's, I think, one of the beautiful things of online events. It's all zeros and ones.
Yeah.
It's all binary in a certain way. So it's all digital. So you have the data. The data is there. The data is at your fingertips. You know how many people are there, how long they are staying. You have tons of stuff because it's all digital on that one.
Yeah.
So I think companies really need to think about that data strategy. What are they collecting, and what are the measurements that you care about? Again, your objectives. I mean, for Cisco Live US or APJC, and especially for the Australian event, we had millions of people in China.
Yeah.
Because of the paid media we did, and the kind of the WeChat and other kind of channels. But they were watching on average for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Useless, right? That's not a qualified lead or whatever, let's say. So I mean, you can say, oh, we have millions of people watching in China. Yeah, 2 seconds. That's not a metric, right? That's not an insight or anything that you can do. But of course, with paid media, we attract other people to do. So one of the metrics that we absolutely look at is average view time. And that is one of the key things. And we will look at, okay, how many people register, how many people effectively attend, and what is the average view time. And even there, you can start categorizing short amounts, longer. How long are they staying? Are these people that for a Cisco Live watch 6 hours a day on that one? These are the ones that are really interested. And then there you can do something with that. And we go further. We have developed, let's say, a methodology, because ROI is everywhere these days, even more. As part of our overall marketing approach, and not just our online events, but any digital campaign we have, we are tracking through our methodology what is an engaged account. Right?
Yeah.
If we have, let's say, all our account managers, big companies, we try to figure out what are these accounts doing on our websites. Are they coming to our events? And then we kind of collect all that data in a data pool. Then we do a certain methodology and kind of come up with like, okay, what is an engaged account? Meaning that account is coming to our website. We know there is pipeline there. We do something and they are also active on our website. Hey, that's great to have that. And then we take a next step. Let's say if from that same account, multiple people are active and they are staying longer for our online event so that, hey, they are looking at something. That's an opportunity. That's where we need to go after. And that's then where we could start seeing trending like, okay, is our volume of engaged accounts going up or down? Is our volume of significantly engaged accounts up or down, let's say? And we even start looking at, hey, early warning and potential opportunity, we call it, meaning, hey, we have, let's say, opportunities in our CRM system, but we see that these companies are no longer engaged, not coming to our online events or not actually sitting on our website. So that means that that opportunity is at risk. So we then provide the data to sales like, hey, early warning, like, hey guys, you have an opportunity, but they're not really engaging, so you need to do something. And then you have the opposite as well. You have no opportunity on your CRM system, but an account is very active. Then you say, hey, here is a potential opportunity. Can you please reach out there? So you see that data, and that is where, again, it's not just about online events. This is actually where we bring all the data together of all our online campaigns and online events to actually then, let's say, decide what is the right next step to do mid of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, or target, retargeting ads and stuff like that. So again, a lot of opportunities to do there.
And we have one question from the audience from Kim Muti. Cisco has been doing hybrid events for a while and have become an expert in the field. So what tips would you give a company doing this for the first time, as specifically one that is not tech-based?
That's a good one. And I think we are really reaching the next step. I think everyone more or less agrees that the future is the next step is hybrid events on that. And then the question is, okay, what is a hybrid event and how do you set that up there? So I'm just going to share, let's say, our experience. I joined Cisco about 10 years ago. And after 2 years, so about 8 years ago, I think, I talked about that Cisco Impact, and that was now virtual. In the past, it was also completely physical. And then at some point, costs, trying something new, we said this is going to be a hybrid event. And at that point, the hybrid event was that we had a TV studio, that all our executives were streaming the content, and in every country, the Cisco people were in the office. Instead of all going to Las Vegas, we were in Brussels, in Amsterdam, in Prague, and everywhere around the world. So that's what we then called hybrid, but we were streaming, let's say, content and had then also content and activations in the countries on that one. We did that for 3 or 4 years. And then I was like, okay, a physical event is actually much better. Let's bring all these people together, celebrate, it's better, let's say, on all that. So we brought that all back. Again, a physical event on that one. But at the same time, through that experience of that hybrid event, we started for our Cisco Live event. That's when we started broadcasting sessions. So we had our physical event, and then we started to stream for free online some of the top sessions on that one. So start engaging an audience that is not there on that one, right? So now I think what a hybrid event will become, I think you will have a physical location, but like I said, we had a physical one and the broadcast was, let's say, secondary. I think in the future, the physical experience and the virtual experience will match, or let's say will be treated at the same level. There will be as much planning in the physical event as in the virtual event, because we see that in the virtual event you can reach way more people and top of the funnel, people that are not allowed to travel or will not travel. While I think the people that will go to your physical events will be the ones that really want to be there. That will be really good quality for your company.
Yeah.
While the virtual one is maybe the future on that one. So to answer further the question, a company that is not tech-based, so I think also for our industry, if you have physical events in conference centers, in hotels or stuff like that, I think you still more and more need to think about having a TV studio on site or having that capabilities to engage with that audience and do both of them, let's say. But again, think about who's my target audience, what do I want to achieve for the different things on that front, let's say. And how do you do the interaction? So hopefully that answers the questions.
Yeah. So constant audience engagement. I think it also goes beyond the 2 to 3 days event. It has to be throughout the year, and as we spoke on our previous sessions about consistency and being present at all times. So Gerd, thank you very, very much for your insights. Very interesting. You brought many innovative ideas today that I think we all can learn from you and apply these principles to our online events. Thank you so much. And just before we close our session, maybe you can share how people can get in touch with you.
Oh yeah, I'm simple. Honestly, like, okay, for a long time already, I don't have business cards. I don't see the use of that, let's say, because we live in a digital. So I'm on LinkedIn. People can absolutely reach out on that one. I'm, let's say, a watcher more of social media and a follower. So I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that, but not really, let's say, active. But on LinkedIn, just my name, type it in. People can absolutely reach out to me via that channel. That's one that I absolutely engage with.
Excellent. So if someone wants to connect with you or have more questions, please connect on LinkedIn. Thank you very much, Gerd. We really enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be back at 11 a.m. With our next session, How to Build a Successful Events Career with Natasha Russell. And see you soon. Thank you very much for watching.
All right, thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.